oh, why don't we shoot BB guns at my lotto winning ticket?
As long as you don't hit the barcode, we'll be okay, but...
Welcome back to Seeker and Confessor, a Sword of Truth podcast. My name's Lauren.
Darken Rahl.
And today we are going to be discussing part 1 of chapter 43 of Wizard's First Rule by Terry Goodkind.
I know the rules very well.
Yes, I suppose that you would, Darken Rahl.
All the Wizard's rules are mine.
Perhaps you're even the most superior at using them, too.
I love when you talk like that.
For audio listeners, Frank is Darken Rahl today, which has been a very long... You were him once before, and it's been a long, long time.
It's been like 9 months.
Yeah. Do you feel good back in the getup?
Of course. Honestly, I wish I wore robes like this. Like, it feels just great.
So, when you see... Just like Michael, when you see Dahar in fashion,
I simply must cop.
Yeah,
yeah, steal his look. I will.
Yeah. Here we go. We're off of chapter 42. We predict chapter 40... Oh, okay, wait. We have something else we need to do.
It's a ceremony at this point. If we've got a Moored Sith on the loose, if Denna's cracking skulls, we're cracking Agils. So Agils, I'm sorry.
Gee. So, here it goes.
Boom.
Oh, it's lit. The Agil's lit up.
Should not be right in the middle like that.
That's a little much.
Yeah, we're gonna wait. Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Right. It's lit up. That means Moored Sith are in this chapter, and they are. At least one is. Two are.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it is resting upon our attempt at bringing a prop box of Orden into the podcast space.
Yes.
It's
pretty close to the description of the box.
You know, we did what we could with what we had. And
literally what we had. We didn't try and acquire anything. No, this is a Chinese massage ball box.
I think they're
from
like
Chinatown.
meditation tools. I don't think they're for massaging.
I don't know.
Show the people what's inside. I hope it's the right one. Hope nothing bad will happen when you open that.
Hold on. I think... Okay. Oh.
I think those are inside the box of Orden, don't you?
Yeah, well, look, they got yin-yangs on it. This is literally the... I think this is kind of... It represents the boxes, right?
Yeah.
Life, death, the eternal...
So you open the perfect one, because...
Do a little in front of you. Yeah. Dear listener... This is for the audio-only listeners to really appreciate. This is what Darken Rahl's magic sounds like. Concentrate on your devotions.
Master, I'll guide us. Master, I'll teach us.
Yes.
I don't remember the rest. What is it?
That's 100 hours.
What is the rest? Don't know. Okay, anyway, that's our box of Orden with our... glow stick Agils.
Agiles.
Are you going to do it the whole time? Do you want me to actually change how I'm pronouncing it?
No, it's Agil.
I mean, evidently it's not, but to my eyes, that's very much what it feels intuitively how I would pronounce it.
If you want it to be Agil, you should have put 2 E's. Dear listeners, I'm not always going to say the right thing. Sometimes I'm going to call Kaylin Caitlin.
Well, that one's kind of weird.
And sometimes I'm going to call the Agil, or whatever the hell I want. And since it's a fictional magical item, I expect you to grant me some grace.
Okay. That's PSA.
It. The book didn't come with pronunciation guides, so I've been saying it in my head this way since before half of you were born.
Start pronouncing it re-chaired. Because it's technically, like, I could do whatever I want.
And I'm going to say Zidida. Because he's got so many D's. Zu'l Zarander. Zidida. Okay.
Let's get started.
All
right, so how do we feel about chapter 43? We are only probably going to do the first half today because we'd like to give things their due time and we don't have 5 hours to film.
No.
So how did you feel about chapter 43 in its entirety.
It was... There's things I liked.
Mm-hmm.
We got very important lore bits. We got a final, like a first confrontation of sorts. That was, like the whole book you've been kind of waiting for.
Yeah.
And it was a bit duddy.
It was okay. I didn't hate it.
There were parts I really didn't like. There were parts that I thought were just, you could have just come back to it in a week and spruced it up a lot.
Yeah, probably.
Like, it's just like, you didn't need to submit this version. Yeah, inconsistent characterization.
Mm-hmm.
Cool things are happening, though.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's kind of a mixed bag.
Yeah, it is very much a mixed bag. Liked some of it, didn't like other things. A lot of the other things I didn't like, they weren't new, though. They were like the stuff I had already been having issues with just continuing on. Like about Darken Rahl not caring enough about getting the information.
Nope. Yeah.
About Constance's entire character.
Yep.
That's just reinforced all the things I didn't like. The only new thing is that I feel maybe I'm on the fence about it a little bit, but I'm like, Darken Rahl just seems like a different character this chapter than the old, like the Darken when you were dressed up this way previously, and this Darken Rahl don't read like the same man to me.
They really don't. No, he's had a lot of time to grow, though,
I guess
he's been to the he's been to the underworld a couple times. He's
like, I feel he was given such, his characteristic was that so much of somebody that had absolutely no emotional regulation skills at all, and now all of a sudden he is like just so in control of himself.
Yeah,
which
I feel like the immense pressure of the things that are about to happen within 1 week's time.
Yeah.
You'd think it would get only worse, right?
Yeah, I think the implication that they like are working off of is that he like, I'm hinging a lot of my defense on one line in this chapter where Darken Rahl says to Demon, like, see, everything is always working in my favor. Like, the universe is conspiring for me.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to have to hang a lot of this on that, where, like, he truly believes that, and that is why he's so calm. And perhaps because he's so calm, he's acting differently now. I don't know.
He has the divine right to rule, kind of.
Something like that.
Yeah. I do find the lack of any true religion in this entire series
it's
very
weird.
Odd.
It's so weird.
They like point towards one,
right? I know,
but there's no church, there's no like name of a deity, there's nothing anywhere.
It's bizarre because like twofold, like you said, it's weird because it's not just like we go over and we're like, oh, across the boundary they just don't really do religion. We do keep paying like some lip service to the idea of religion, kind of.
Yeah.
So then that would be like, okay, so then more. Mm-hmm. We don't get more. But then it also is part of the reason I think like the world doesn't feel that real to me. Because you're like, no, there's no country in the entire world that has had large groups of people who have not come up with like pretty detailed religious ideals. And so for you to try to convince me, isn't my world just reflecting the psychology of humanity like really well? And you're like, but none of that happened here for some reason. It's like,
well, then it's not. Well,
then you're missing a really big chunk of human existence and like the way our brains work.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's no folklore. There's no gods.
There's a little bit, like Kaelin telling Sidon the story about the fisherman. I guess that's like folklore in a way.
In a way.
Yeah, I guess.
No one ever believed that happened.
Literally is like, oh, but they have magical creatures for real, so they wouldn't even make that up. And it's like, that's not true because
no, they would triple make it up, by the way.
The creatures aren't magical to them.
That's true, too. Well,
they're just normal.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, they're mundane.
Yeah.
Like, we're like, oh my god, night wisps. They're not. They're like, those are lightning bugs to our brains.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, for sure.
It's like, that's not interesting.
It would have to be jam-packed with gills, with like gillyfish and dragons on every corner before I'm like, can't imagine anything else. There's like ghost eels coming through the walls and just be like, oh man, there's just so much. I'm in the nexus of imagination. There's no, there can't be fairy tales beyond this.
All right, so let's get into it. We left off with post lotioning one another.
Yep.
Post having sex for the first time without the angel.
Without the pain.
Right, without the pain. After Denna had her encounter with Darken Rahl, her very bad encounter. And we get into the action pretty quick. We wake up. Denna does not take him on any training that morning.
Nope.
They go on another walk. Again, wish and think it's strange to not have Richard wake up with any thoughts in that little pea brain of his about the previous night. He's got no thoughts or feelings about it. Nothing. I understand he's locked up, but like even the part of him that's still there still has thoughts about things. We hear about them.
Yeah.
So where's the thoughts?
Because
anyway?
this should be the most pleasant of sexual encounters so far, right? Yeah. This is the most on normal terms.
But he could still even not like it or like be feeling weird about it.
Yeah.
Just, I don't know, a feeling would be nice.
Terry did not want to pontificate at all.
So we get no insight into Richard's feelings about the previous night, but they go on another walk instead of Mistress Denna training him. So you get the sense that she had a nice night.
Yep.
And she doesn't want to hurt him today. After the second devotion of the day, Richard and Denna are summoned to Master Rahl.
That's right.
As they're about to go see him, Constance stops them.
Quick cutscene. Yep.
And says, "You look surprisingly well today, Sister Denna," alluding to the fact that she knows that
she got hurt because of her.
Yeah, I don't know why.
This starts off bad and just only gets stupid.
Everything about Constance is bad.
Yeah, because of this.
Because of what?
Like, there could have been a glimmer of hope that deeper characterization could have come about.
Shannon left a good comment about about Constance that I completely agree with. It says, "I agree, Constance's jealousy makes sense, but that jealousy would never no way outweigh her duty to Rahl." Agreed, if I am to take what they're saying about the Mordsith as true.
Yep.
And if it does, they are not broken in the way Terry wants us to believe. Richard is to be preserved for questioning. Again, why hasn't he been asked yet? No Mordsith would ever risk effing up, both out of loyalty and if not love, pure fear. Correct. Constance is definitely when I read it at 16 moment. I remember being like, get that unloyal bad word out of here. How dare she betray her friend like that? Grown-up Shannon wants to know why Constance is the one singular, unredeemable Mordsith. Really, none of them can be hated for their actions. They are literally the most abused and programmed women in the history of anything. But Terry pushes us so hard to be ruthless in our judgment of her. It makes me mad. A good writer would have still made us feel empathy for her, even while hating her actions, by showing her slowly spiral as Denna, the one reliable thing in this universe of pain. The one thing that is hers slowly slips away. Yeah. I mean, that's exactly articulated how I feel. Because I'm like, Constance even being a crazy bitch and being obsessed with Denna and hating Richard all makes sense, and you could do it in such an interesting way. That would be fascinating to be like, she's being nuts, but I feel bad for her because you can comprehend why she has this attachment to Denna and this hatred for men. You could do it in a way that's interesting.
You could. But her braid is not pretty enough for you to bother. Right. So
that's true. Shannon, did you consider that?
Yeah, I don't think. Shannon, I don't think she got a good look at the hair. You know.
I don't think you were really sitting long enough and meditating on how fucked up her braid was.
Yeah, how dry and split.
You should take. Take it back.
Delete your comment.
Say
please.
psych.
Next time, just don't leave a comment like that about someone with gross hair. It's fucking stupid.
It's so ridiculous. Anyway, love that, Shannon. Thank you.
But anyway, here's the apex of dumb.
Mm-hmm. So, Denna looks at her without emotion. Richard is so angry at her for being such a tattletale to Darken Rahl. He's thinking about the braid, and then he hits her. Oh no! So then Constance says, if Richard is alive when he gets back, they'll be seeing a lot of each other, and she wants a piece of him.
It's his penis.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So
then, which I think is funny because this kind of like ties into your like Richard being like kind of secretly a bad manipulator.
Yeah.
It's funny that his tirade, he doesn't go on it when she insults Denna.
No.
He waits until she says something shitty about him, then lets it loose.
Correct.
So it's like, that was the part that seemed to piss you off the most.
Uh-huh.
I mean, granted, she is saying she's
But it's supposed to be
his,
like, the fact that he's even doing it at all is because that's how the conversation started. Her digging at her.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So
Denna looks good because she got a lot of cream going on last night. You know what I mean?
All that lotion.
She got lotioned up. She got lotioned up. And you know what, Constance? She had a fucking orgasm. You should try it. That's what I'm saying.
You know, but also I'm not saying that because Constance probably has a lot of barriers to work through.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
Can you go back like 25 seconds where we talked about how fucking gross her braid was before you say anything positive about her?
Well,
door's open.
I guess here we go. I'm gonna read Richard's feelings about Constance.
Let's hear
I'm
'em.
sure this is all deserved. And would love if this rant, I was supposed to be like, damn, Richard, like, you're being a little harsh. This is kind of morally weird, but it makes sense because you're kind of being selfish and blah, blah. We're not. We're supposed to think he's the good guy here. Let's all be real honest about that.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to go, like, snaps for Richard. Oh, my God. Go off, queen. Pop off. Like, no. Here he goes.
King shit. Let's go.
The year they chose you. This is such a read from Richard. The year they chose you, Mistress Constance, must have been a year of desperate need.
Clocked.
Otherwise, one of such limited intelligence would never have been selected to be Mordsith.
Gagged.
Only the most ignorant would put their own petty ambitions above the value of a friend. Especially a friend who has sacrificed so much for you.
Wow.
You are not worthy to kiss Mistress Denna's angel. I just want to point out after that, Richard smiled smoothly and confidently. That's in the text, okay? Then he says, you had better hope Master Rahl kills me, Mistress Constance. Because if he doesn't, then the next time I see you, I'm going to kill you for what you've done to Mistress Denna.
Wow. Angel drop.
Angel drop.
Angel drop.
That's how he felt. I love that in the middle of that, he smiled. He said that, what was it ending on? Yeah, you're not worthy to kiss Mistress Denna's angel.
Couple of things. He's just once again being a manipulative piece of shit. I don't know. He's halfway out of the box already. I don't.
What box? What are you talking about?
Terry's attempt to write this sort of like partitioned mind thing is like insane.
No, yes, in that sense, right? Because I'm like, okay, especially, I could have taken the leakiness of the locked box and all that when I thought it was just sort of like a nebulous, like, this is sort of a concept that's helping him through psychologically, a metaphor of sorts that's functioning for him. When you tell me it's an actual magical mode of being that is so total, it's like literal, then no, why is he like, his personality is still all here? Right? I mean, why else would he do this?
Smiling smoothly.
This is very Richard.
Yeah, it is.
This is all very Richard of him. Yeah, once again, this to me is the exact same feeling as when he kicked Princess Violet in the jaw.
Yeah, definitely.
It's the same thing where I'm like, but this is worse in a way because Constance really should be a figure that gets some amount. If you expect me to give empathy to Denna, I have to give empathy to Constance. You can't ask me not to. And so then doing this just feels bizarre to me because I'm like, is she really that much worse? I will have to bring back Denna doing the weird shit she did with Princess Violet. And then I'm like, okay, so that's the level of fucked up she is. And you are asking me and Richard to be like, we kind of love her. Okay, fine. But Constance hasn't done anything worse than that.
No.
Has she? We're in the same room here.
We're in the same room. We're definitely in the same room.
We're in the same room. I don't get it. Like, Denna is not better than Constance.
Richard's dick is not that important on a grand scale. Like, it's not like
right.
In this world, Richard's dick is vital.
I think Terry would disagree.
Well,
but...
clearly Terry would disagree. He writes about it a lot, but like, Yeah, it just doesn't seem that important, right?
Yeah, so it's hard for me because, like, this kind of just falls flat because I'm like, what? I would like I said, I would love Richard being a dick to Constance and that being a little nugget of difficulty for the reader, for us, for our feelings towards Richard, for the complexity of it all. But since I know it won't be, and that's definitely not the intention, I am definitely supposed to be like, oh, that smooth, confident smile. He was so cool when he said that.
So
fuck
cool,
her.
And he was right. And you know he's going to kill her at some point.
Like,
and it's going to be like,
I don't feel that way at all. I'm just like, this is unwarranted.
Literally.
Like, it's warranted, but then so is any ill will we may have towards Denna, and I think you should be giving her more shit.
Which
probably.
by the end of this chapter, not only do we barely have any ill will, but we're kind of just like,
we love her,
saying it's a romance novel of sorts. Like, it just kind of feels like
I'm okay with Richard loving her problematically. I'm okay with us loving her. I just like can't.
That's a different book.
I just can't also fuck with like Constance this way.
Yeah, we were told Denna is so complex and has all this quality worthy of empathy, but the person who went through the exact same thing as her, that's a little bit of a dick.
A little.
And like within her realm, doing things within her job description. And so is Denna most of the time.
99%
except for these walks that just started.
Literally, I'm just like, okay, but all of Denna's past has been acting pretty much the same. Was any of this cool to you?
Cool? No. No, it felt just like it had to happen because of the way Terry did things. Like, Terry felt like it had to happen, and I don't think it did.
I guess it's partially trying to show us just, like, the level of devotion he has to Denna at this point.
Yeah, but it doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel like... Because it feels like he's being manipulative still. It doesn't feel like he's really devoted to Denna.
I don't know how I feel about that. Maybe... It sort of does to me, a little bit.
I don't believe it. Not fully. Because he's devoted to Kaylin. And, like, that's what this is. This is, like, he just took his love for Kaylin, put it on Denna.
So if that is what it is, then that's... He would be acting this way.
Sure.
Right?
Like, none of this tracks with the version of events that we get from Denna about Constance and her's relationship. Like, we don't actually get any real details of them interacting that would clue you into this deep relationship that they must have had. But it feels like in V for Vendetta, when, like, the girl's passing the notes to prisoner Natalie Portman through the wall.
Yeah.
And, like, you're getting this, like, full backstory of, like, this relationship. And it's, like, that's kind of what I'm imagining their relationship while being trained by Rastin or whatever it must have been like. And it's like the deepness
that would have such depth
of their sisterhood is paper thin.
It really is.
Right now.
It's like, ridiculous.
I wouldn't even do this to people I don't like at work.
I know, but you're supposed to be like...
We're torturing people for work. Yeah.
Constance has such strong... dislike, like her dislike of like Denna being taken away from her and of men, and that combination is just like so ridiculously intense.
It's just not.
But then I guess I feel like if that's the case, there should just be a lot, especially with the implication all the time of them kind of like having the emotional outbursts like children. Like, this should be like the messiest shit ever.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, it should be like Denna's having like an actual fucking fit over Constance like doing this to her, like betraying her like this.
Yeah.
Like, they should be like actually like wrestling in the square right now.
I mean, I'd pay to see it.
So, even with the braid?
Well, then I'll win, obviously. So then, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, I guess they fight a little bit. Constance goes to hit Richard with her Agel, and then Denna puts her own Agel on Constance's throat, and she coughs blood and drops to the floor, like, I guess...
You could just Agel on Agel.
I just want, like, I think it should be more emotional. If they're going to be, like, little baby girls...
That's what I'm saying.
Who are, like, again, like, just, like, no... Because, like, I just feel like it's always this problem of, like, you can't have it both ways. You can't be like, oh, well, they're just, like, so traumatized and have this little girl thing, and they they fight and they're jealous and they have big outbursts, so much so that they forget the main
function of their job,
which
they were tortured for years to get.
Right, they forget it because they're just so aggressively unable to like be on top of themselves. Fine, then they should be, like I said, she should be like tearing her hair out and be like, "You fucking bitch!" Like, then it escalates there. So if it doesn't escalate there because they're Mord Sith and they have been trained diligently to keep control of their emotions, well, then why did the first part happen? It's one or the other.
It doesn't make sense. Yes, there's too many levels of inconsistency. And you're asking us to just believe one.
Well, it's just always like ping-ponging all over the place. Like, no, but because of this, and because of this, and because of this. But then it goes back to that. And it's like, okay, I don't...
Yeah.
All of these trains of thought, each train of thought could be true, but not together.
Yeah, that's the hard part.
Not together in such... a small span of time, days, you know what I mean?
Yep.
No, I don't think so. That just doesn't ring true to me.
No. So Constance's whole arc sucked.
No kidding.
And here it ends, for now.
Yeah, would have loved the one that Shannon wrote. Shannon, rewrite this whole...
Daharan Tales. Give us the...
I would like to see somebody really, like, dig... Because that's what sucks. Some of the concepts are so good. The idea of a Constance that's so... obsessively devoted to Denna due to these sorts of circumstances is really interesting. I would love to read that story.
You know how messy these Mord Sith would be?
That would be great. That story is not this story.
No.
But that story that Terry kind of set us up with was fascinating.
It was a good start. He just, poor execution.
Really poor.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting. When you think of they're not, he's trying to have it both ways, that they are expert torturers who are great at breaking people, which is one thing, and then the most dedicated knight servants, which is another thing. And there's this like clearly emotional core to them that's like very damaged.
Yeah.
And he's trying to highlight that.
Yeah.
You can't be all three of those things. You can't be the great torturer with emotional damage who's also a composed knight and super dedicated. You can't be all three. But it is kind of interesting to have the emotional damage torturers that work for you and grab magical people and all live together.
Yeah.
That would be a cool story.
Kalen's also, like, comprised of all of these...
Oh, yeah.
He loves partitioned brains, partitioned personalities.
Yeah.
Like, he really is into that. And I don't find them that real. I just don't find them that realistic. I don't feel like I feel that way as a human being. I don't feel like I meet people that really... Like, trust me, people have all sorts of inconsistencies, but it's not so stark like this.
No, when we get into the partitioned mind thing a little bit later, I'm very curious about, like, is this like Terry's tricks? Is this a magic that he believes exists and people should do?
Well, once again, psychology, just normal psychological ideas actually being magic. He loves that.
He loves that. So I'm saying, like, if I could have asked Terry this, like, does he think, like, people who are undergoing traumatic situations, this is a good trick to use. Like, you should partition your mind.
I don't know, or I don't know if he's just like, I think that's just what happens, and like maybe you could look at it and be like, oh wow, the mind is such a marvelous thing that it has this function in it to help you in some way. Does it help you? I don't know. I guess it's arguable, but I guess it's sort arguable. Of.
Yeah.
It sort of does. So maybe he thinks that's like a cool idea.
And it could have been.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't. It's too leaky.
Like how Wizard's first rule is very, very leaky to me. I feel idea as well. His magic is really, and like, I don't know. I guess a lot of magic kind of is. I don't know why it bothers me so much.
Because when magic is metaphysical, we don't have metaphysical properties defined within us. Like, they are kind of nebulous.
Right.
And you're much more forgiving. But Terry's acting like basic psychology is the same thing as a metaphysical property.
It's like,
and on some level it is. But on other levels, there's clear patterns that we all kind of accept, like why people think certain things and why people have empathy and why people are deranged and all these things. Like, we kind of understand a bit. And he acts like it's this unknowable. It's like as if you summoned fire to think correctly. It's like, I don't know if it is. I think it's just like, kind of using a little bit of reason that makes you a wizard. Does it?
In this world,
it does. Anyway, we just spent a lot on that first little chug.
So Denna leaves. Richard's attached her with the chain. She says, just try and guess how many hours that's earned you. Richard smiled. Mistress Denna, if there is a Mordsith who could raise a scream from a dead man, it would be you. I kind of like that line. That kind of goes hard. That kind of goes hard, I have to
implying that even you might even kill me and I'll still be screaming.
Yes.
Yeah,
I kind of like there are like little things sprinkled throughout that I'm like, that went hard. I liked that idea of him saying that. But
yeah, why has Denna completely abandoned their relationship thing? Like,
who?
Denna just doesn't care about being like they're on even footing right now. I understand last night must have been great, but
I don't know if they are at the end of it. How are they on even footing?
Oh, I don't know. It's just he's allowed to be cheeky again. He's being flippant.
Yeah, because she likes him now, like for real, like as a human.
Her God King
I know.
needs her to not like him. He specifically has tortured her to the point of breaking, like, many times.
Yeah.
Richard, in one kind weekend, has made her question it all.
I don't know. I kind of get where he's going with it. Like, the power of a real connection with somebody might... Maybe.
It might make you start questioning. It's not going to make
I
you
would think
full
that.
sell. Be like,
yeah, that's probably
we're not doing torture anymore. We're taking walks.
Well, no,
I'll beat up my friend.
But she knows that Darken Rahl is questioning him today, so I think
so
was.
This is like a treat. This is like a treat on the way to the slaughterhouse kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like going to put your dog down and you like get it a burger. You go to McDonald's.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm like it's not.
Get it McDonald's. No,
they do.
That's nice.
I would.
Yeah,
but,
of course.
So that's what she's doing.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? Like she knows he's gonna maybe die today or soon. So she's like, I'm not gonna. Yeah. But yeah, I agree. She did just get tortured for not being mean enough to him. So to continue doing that the next day, I don't know. I wonder if she has any suspicions that she's gonna die too. Maybe that's why she doesn't care.
Why would she?
I don't know.
Why would she die?
Well, she does, so I don't know.
Yeah, okay, maybe she's starting to think that. Maybe she has an inkling of the white hot power. So whatever, they're cruising.
Yeah, he says his cool line about
she
could make a dead man scream. She says, and if Master Rahl doesn't kill you, how many hours? Mistress Denna, there are not enough hours in a lifetime to dim my pleasure at what I have done. Oh, he's so cool. Just breaking the jaws of young women. Just, really reaming the abused slaves of Darken Rahl. Get them.
Yes.
I'm tired of you.
Richard's walking around the people's palace. Tripping like old ladies. You know?
And I would love for Richard to be a fucked up little man, but I know he's not. He's supposed to be my savior right now, so that's the problem. She smiles a little bit at him, and says she's glad it was worth it to him. And she still just doesn't understand you, Richard Cypher. As you said, we could be no more or less than who we are. I regret I could be no more than I am. I'm just not good enough for you. I should have been better despite all the torture.
I can't, yeah.
And I fear you can be no less than absolutely
no less than
amazing.
The fucking king.
Were we not warriors fighting on opposite sides of this war, I would keep you as a mate for life and work to see you die of old age.
Oh my god.
He says, I would try my best to live a long life for you, Mistress Denna. So I think there is some complexity, something kind of interesting about Richard's, like you feel like it is sort of real, like these grand love declarations he's making towards her. But then there is this interesting element of like, take Master Rahl out of it, take the end of the world out of it, him dying soon and all this stuff. You're kind of like, what? Like, if you got your memories back, though, this, like, isn't real anymore, kind of?
That's my question, right?
I don't know.
So, he clearly is super bonded to Denna. Trauma and whatever else aside, it clearly feels somewhat akin to his love for Kaelin. Mm-hmm. He has some deep level of just devotion to this woman. And I have to wonder, are we implying that Richard's love power or whatever is something special about Richard? Richard just loves so damn strong.
Yes, I think.
And is that because he is magical? Or is that because he is special? Or is that because he is just a good, smart boy? That's what I need to know.
A good, smart boy, which makes him special.
No, because here's my question, right? No, because here's my fucking question, right? Chase Branstone loves his wife
true.
like a motherfucker.
That's so true.
That shit's probably white hot.
Right.
Do you think that
right.
if
Why
she
doesn't
didn't exist, or if we put Chase in these situations, could he come to love or no?
What
It's
would
just
Chase,
special.
How would Chase deal with the Mordsit?
Chase would have the Morts running around, helping him
Write
out in like
essays
5 minutes.
below on how you think
Yeah.
Chase would handle.
Write fanfic below about
Chase getting stolen by
Mordsith, and then, either reverse harem situations or just.
What? Wait.
Know.
What do you mean? Reverse harem means it's a lot of men and a woman.
Just write whatever your heart
So
thinks should happen to Chase.
What's happening
for me? Right, whatever you think I want to
what
happen
is happening?
to Chase in
Explain
these
to
stories.
me, Chase and who else?
Chase, we're gonna have to have some OCs. Some
who are these other
stand-ins here.
men?
We're gonna have to come up with them. You are gonna have to come up with them.
Is
not
Julian
me.
there?
I mean, if I was writing it, he'd probably be in there. Yeah, but I can't expect them.
Okay.
What
where are all why is it a reverse harem? Because the Mordsith has so many men and Chase is just one of them. What makes Richard better than Chase? And I think it's just, I don't know that he is. I think they're equally as good, but Richard just happens to be magical because of his bloodline,
And that, I feel like, goes counter to a lot of Terry's messaging. So that's why I kind of feel confused.
Does it?
Richard clearly has special parentage.
Yeah.
Richard clearly has magical blood and teaching and whatever else and prophecies about him and all this. But, I feel like Terry constantly implies with these books that each and every man and woman is their own god and can do whatever they want. And the person saying that was literally born as magical Jesus, so it kind of feels a little empty. Yeah.
There's something sweet about Richard saying that he would live a long life with Mistress Denna in a way.
Sweet.
It's also fucked up. It's sweet. How does that tie in to your feelings about Kaylin? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
I think the implication later when he gets his memories back, he has a big surge of love power when he thinks about Kaylin, but he also has one for Dennis still, even with
the
his
Kaylin
mind back.
I know.
So I'm okay with the idea of being he genuinely loves them both right now because of circumstance. It's that might be the outcome. So okay. Although I do think it's interesting that even when Richard's mind comes back, he still maintains the love of Denna despite everything. I don't know.
He also, at some point, has the anger at her as well.
Yeah, I know. So they go upstairs in the palace. They arrive at large doors covered in carvings of rolling hills and forests, all sheathed in gold. Sounds pretty nice.
It does.
She says, I
wrote, they have a nice door. Keep going.
Okay. I think the nature imagery is important.
Probably.
Denna says, are you prepared to die this day, my love? And he says, the day is not over yet, Mistress Denna. She's being a little cavalier about him dying, all things considered, given that the emotionality of the connection with him literally broke down her entire belief system and what's the word I'm looking for when you're brainwashing. He literally broke through it via love and connection. And now I get that she doesn't have a choice, but she doesn't really seem that upset. She keeps being kind of you're gonna die, It's
implying she has this stoicism that she doesn't have. She's just gonna she's not this unemotional warrior. It's just at the last 5 minutes we're yeah, she just beat the shit out of this man,
I know,
to the brink of death with a smushed nose,
just for being
and everything
a little
else.
jealous,
just for being let her beat me instead. And now
that's what I'm saying. You can't have that woman and this woman don't go together.
Yeah,
I don't think she'd be
so whatever about his execution.
And if she was sort of stoic, even her having stoicism at this point is a little unbelievable, but if her stoicism was at least coming across to me like she was kind of just like quietly doing it because she's like, I just have to, like, we gotta do it. Why is she making like little jests about him dying?
I don't know.
Is it funny?
It doesn't feel funny. It doesn't feel appropriate.
And if it is funny, then he didn't really break through all that much. In which case, why are you even doing all this risky shit?
I don't know. Sometimes I feel like Terry writes were like, that would be a cool thing to say. That would be a cool thing to say. Fuck, wait, hold on. This would also be a cool thing to say next.
And like,
and they don't go together. They're just like all cool things to say.
20 times he was right.
Well, the problem is they don't go together. So you're like, why did you say that? And Terry's like, it was cool. And you're like, not according to where we've been and where we're going. And yeah.
So she kisses him and apologizes for what she's done to him, but says she can't help it because she has been trained.
What is all this?
To do. I didn't like this part.
Yeah.
I live only to hurt you. Know that it is not by choice, but by training. I can be.
Seems like you could stop. I don't know.
No, she like kind of can't.
But like you're kind of stopping already.
But no, she's saying like via training, like I do genuinely dead ass like this, and I can't help that.
Yeah.
And so, like, I feel like that is what she's saying.
Richard seems to be okay with the impact play, though. I think you can make it work,
yeah.
You know? Like, I don't know.
Right. I don't know if Kaylin's going to do that for him, but maybe.
I feel like I look like a Quincy right now.
What's
a Bleach reference, sorry.
Oh. Kaylin did hold him down in the spirit house.
Fuck. And he liked it. He was licking apple juice and, yeah.
Right. I live only to hurt you. No, it is not by choice, but by training. I can be no more than I am. Mord Sith. If you are to die this day, my love, then make me proud and die well. That sounds like the words of a Mord Sith who is very proud of their mate, but is still very locked into the conditioning of the whole thing.
Which she doesn't feel like that's true of anymore, right? Like,
yeah, I think when it's convenient, she no longer is conditioned the same way. I don't know. Richard says, he was mate to a mad woman, he thought sadly, and not one of her own making. Why do we
can
have to...
he have that
Okay,
thought?
first of all, can he have that thought? Can she even have the thought? Like, I don't know. Well, she could have the thought, but like, I do... All of it is just like, do we really have to like spell it out like this for the audience?
It feels like this is how good-hearted fictional Nazis would think about things. Like,
yeah, like, it's like, why does she... So, really... Okay, she has to come and say to the camera, hello. I'm a Mord Sith, and I just want you guys to know that I do bad things, but like, it was because somebody trained me to do them. It wasn't my fault. I know they're bad, but the moral of the story is that you should extend me empathy because I was abused. Thank you. And then Richard says, hello, ladies and gentlemen. I love this woman. She is crazy, but it's not her fault. I hope you all took away that these things can sometimes be complicated and we don't totally blame her. Thank you.
This has been a Daharan broadcast. Up next, commercial for Pantene Pro V. Fix your ugly braid.
Okay, thanks for letting me know. Yeah, that was literally the point. If there was any points that were coherent throughout any of this, that was the one that came through.
Yeah. And
I definitely didn't need you to say it, because if I didn't take that away from it, I honestly don't know that I understood anything.
The words you were saying.
Exactly. And at that point, who fucking cares, right? Like, what I take away.
Yeah, he really needs to be like, this was the point. If you didn't get it, here it is again. One more time.
Like, yeah, dude.
Here are the themes.
Whatever. I guess in a sense, that's personal preference. Some people might like things being spelled out for them so explicitly. I really like books that just let the thing happen. Yeah. And then I can just
But I also hate this fucking quote of the day calendar bullshit where everyone's just like, Richard said one thing once. Richard, you taught me this. We are who we are. Remember when you said that, Richard? A page ago?
I'm saying it again now.
Wait, I know we're about to die, but we are who we are, right, Richard?
Quote Richard Cypher.
I'm dying now, Richard. But I was who I was, right? That you said that.
Honestly,
a smart man told me that a long time ago, Richard.
It
was you.
Something blasphemous.
Go ahead. I'm in. Are you looking for Jesus?
I am. He's going to have to help me, maybe.
All right.
Because I'm reading Wind and Truth by Brandon Sanderson right now. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm reading Wind and Truth by Brandon Sanderson, and he's doing this a lot too these days. It's really getting on my nerves, actually. He's doing so much, like, the characters are just going to, like, tell you the lesson. Let me just tell you. I'm getting tired. I'm tired of you guys writing like this.
You know what I think this might be a problem of?
What?
The man writes too many fucking words.
That's probably true.
And doesn't have time to, like, let things sit and edit them. And he's just, like, cranking out books.
His brain's on fire.
You have to stop. You have to put the fire out of your brain first.
I don't know. I do think it might be a style thing. Because some people... Listen, the people that love this series are so fucking dedicated. I'm in the Facebook groups. I see them. They're incorporating Sword of Truth symbolism into their wedding ceremonies. Like, they love it, right? And I think some people, their brains just kind of like this chicken soup for the soul messaging. And, like, that kind of is what I like about Brandon Sanderson a bit. He's just took it one step too far where I'm getting a little fatigued. But I think people really like it.
Yeah, that's part of what I don't like about Brandon Sanderson and what I did like about this. So maybe I aged out or maybe I require dominatrixes. It could be one or the other.
That's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brandon will not supply you with that.
I really wish he would. That would get wild. That would get so wild.
I would like to see it coming out of his brain. It would be really weird and interesting.
Yeah, if he just had, like, this is my R-rated series. I'm just going, my X-rated series.
I would love to see that. They go into the Garden of Life. Richard is too distracted to be impressed. They go down a path. There's shrubs, trees, vines, blah, blah, blah.
What else is there?
There's an expansive lawn. A glass roof that lets light in.
Beautiful. Light.
He sees Darken Rahl's giant guards in the distance with a man with a weird haircut and a blonde streak in it.
Oh.
Demon.
Oh.
Near the center of the lawn, near a circle of white sand in a warm shaft of late afternoon sunlight, Darken Rahl stood with his back to them. The drama of it all. Sunlight made his white robes and blonde hair glow. Sparks of sunlight glinted off the gold belt and curved dagger at his waist. Denna and Richard bow. They say, Master Rahl, guide us. Master Rahl, teach us. Master Rahl, I didn't write the rest of that mantra down.
Devote.
Your life is, our life is yours.
We
are humbled in your service.
In your light, we shine.
In
your glory, we are humbled. In your something, we are something.
So Richard's trembling. And he remembers he isn't supposed to be near Darken Rahl, but he doesn't remember why.
What the fuck are we doing? I understand.
Well, again, is it partitioned or not? If it's magically partitioned, he shouldn't even remember that.
I understand. And it's been leaking for days now, so, like, whatever. But, like, that is not an interesting thought to have.
It's not.
At all.
No?
No.
Okay.
The bad guy. I'm supposed to be not near the bad guy. Yeah, Richard. You don't need to remember the quote. You know what I'm saying? He's doing it too. Oh, wait. I'm not supposed to be near that guy.
I don't know.
Zadida? Who's that?
Reshared. I don't remember. What the hell did I say?
Rise, my children.
That's pretty good interpretation. It's the arcane Jace.
Thank you. It's the arcane Jace.
Master Rahl's face looked kind, intelligent, pleasant, but this did not calm Richard's nerves. Then Darken Rahl hits her with the same
fucking copy paste.
With the exact same thing that Constance said, which I was like, was that supposed to be some? I don't know. Like, was that supposed to mean something, or
were they like bad girling last night? Like, being like, "Oh my god, you did what to Denna?" Like, and then I'm gonna say it, and then you're gonna say it.
Yeah, like, I don't. Why would they say the same thing?
I don't know.
You look surprisingly well this morning, my pet. Then Richard says, Mistress Denna is as good at taking pain as giving it, Master Rahl.
Which is what you said. a couple episodes ago about one of the reasons we might like Denna over.
Correct.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Darken Rahl in this chapter seems also characterized similar to Denna in that he does seem to have this certain level of like empathy and this certain level of like fairness.
Yeah, that
which is bizarre.
Kind of existed before.
Did it?
A little.
Really? I want to go back and read that chapter. I feel like at every turn, Terry was taking the opportunity to be like, oh my god, isn't this guy just nuts?
He was nuts.
And deeply unfair.
But sometimes he was fair. It had like a weird...
When, though?
He's not flying off the handle super easy.
He's not? I feel like he is.
He has like planned outlets to fly off the handle, I feel like. He's super like regimented.
Like he isn't though. I don't know.
I know. It's kind of a schizophrenic character.
Yeah, but like, do you feel like it's intentionally schizophrenic?
No, that's the problem.
Maybe it is. So Dark Girl says, my pet has told me that you are nothing but trouble. I am pleased to see she has not lied to me, but not pleased to find it true. I kind of liked that line.
I liked it too.
Yeah, I liked that. I was like, okay, I kind of like him saying stuff like that.
I'm pleased my pet didn't lie to me, but I'm not pleased to find out you're a pain in the ass, motherfucker.
Yeah, like I was like, that's actually clever. I actually preferred the way Darken Rahl was characterized here because it's more what I would think somebody pulling all of this off would act like.
I agree. Yeah.
Like him being like absolutely deranged in the other one was like, are we sure he's gonna pull this off? Because he doesn't seem okay.
Yeah, it's like Darken Rahl going to, like the Darken Rahl in the beginning versus the Darken Rahl that's like in the Garden of Life with Carl versus the Darken Rahl on the dragon just like murking the entire Mud People village versus the Darken Rahl in Queen Melena's palace. They're all like different men.
Right?
And now this one's here, and I guess I'm happy it's kind of reasonable at the end. But his characterization, even in this chapter, it starts off strong here.
Yeah.
And then it quickly turns into something that I'm like, it's almost like unrecognizable from the beginning to the end of the chapter, I feel like.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so it's kind of weird.
But anyway, cool line. That he pulled that off. So he says he's pleased to meet Richard. Denna angels Richard, and he says, it is my honor to be here, Master Rahl. I live only to serve. I am humbled by your presence. So I did think that this part was sort of like a commentary on, as he loves to do, like bureaucracy and all of this stuff, where like Richard saying that to him was so obviously not true, right? Like he had to be angeled into saying it, which kind of then... There is a theme going on of, like, all of the things Darken Rahl has set up for himself, like the devotions and all of that, do not work.
Yes,
they are
clearly.
just somebody, like, people being forced to do it, which then does kind of tie into the idea that we're like, oh, the Mordsith do not seem actually devoted to Darken Rahl. And I'm like, is that intentional? Like, feeding off of this idea, right? Like, the idea of you saying these words, you doing this big song and dance in support of this person, like, is not true if it, like, forcing it just is meaningless. But then, if that's the case, the Mordsith just functionally become meaningless for him.
Correct.
In a way. I guess it's like maybe the thought is that like you sort of have like a nebulous amount of control.
Yes. And power is the rest of it that you need. So his ability to like do magic and all that with everyone just even aping devotion at him is enough for him to then have a decent amount of power.
Right. I'm kind of getting that out of it.
And the unfortunate thing is there is also this, the government is clearly very brutal. Like they're invading and they're torturing and they're scooping up the nice girls and
chopping out people's tongues.
Chopping out tongues. If a petal's on the floor, they're killing you. All that sort of stuff, which is like a huge fear-based economy that we're working with here, juxtaposed with Richard's every man should live for himself, neo-libertarian Ayn Rand, whatever. Yeah, Terry doesn't really offer any actual solutions. He just kind of condemns.
No, but that's kind of, well, actually, he does offer solutions. He thinks if you fucking make the Faith of the Fallen statues, everyone's gonna...
No, the Faith of the Fallen statues are supposed to inspire you
Yeah.
to then do other things.
I know, that's
and
my
those other
point. That's the
things are
solution.
to steal the Faith of the Fallen statues and put them right between two jacuzzis in your giant mansion, all right?
Well, it worked because you were inspired to take action.
I have the blueprints.
Exactly. So the fact that you even drew that is kind of proof that it works.
It inspired me.
Obviously, a piece of art came out of it.
Look at that. Art. Yeah.
Okay, can you hold on to that thought? I have a YouTube comment I want to read to you.
Sure.
That Sonar Man left about his interpretation of when we were like Richard is in love with Denna and wants to keep her from getting pain, blah blah blah, all that, right?
Okay.
Connected to what we were just discussing. I thought maybe there was something here that like I needed spelt out for me. So it says, my take on the Richard is special reaction to breaking. My understanding is that most people are broken by Mordsid through purely their own self-interest of avoiding pain.
Okay.
They're willing to do anything that Mordsid wants them to do to avoid receiving pain, but are not willing to do anything to help anyone else in a way that does not influence their own pain level. I don't think Terry really thought about or considered Stockholm Syndrome, which I agree would probably make most of the captives want to be nice to their Mordsith. And so my argument is that I think we leaned a little too... I was really bought into my own interpretation that the Mordsith are hot and sexy the way they are because of the Stockholm Syndrome angle and trying to, like, specifically utilize that. So if we take the Stockholm Syndrome angle out, then them being beautiful and sexy kind of isn't relevant.
Sure.
But fine, we'll keep going.
But they are, but yeah, keep going.
But the fact that Constance was plotting the death of her trainer and helped Denna pull it off shows that neither of them were broken in a way that was based on anything other than their own self-interest, which is, I think, is accurate, right?
Yeah, I would say.
I think Terry's trying to show that Richard is willing to take more pain by training with Constance instead of Denna, or act with no possibility of relief for himself, such as using the lotion, and that's supposed to make him different. And then I thought somehow that kind of tied in for me into this, like, Richard saying the words without meaning them. All of that. I don't know. That does seem... It's like that's a little bit more coherent. It doesn't jive so much with my own, like, instincts about how people would break and how the psychology of it would work and how you would be in love with your Mordsith and you would this and that. But... if we, like, kind of remove that and we're like, maybe that's, I don't know, not true because you can't prove it.
Yeah. Sure.
Is that that's kind of coherent?
It is. Yeah. I agree with it somewhat.
Yeah.
I think it definitely is a take.
I think that's probably the correct take. Like, I think that was probably the intention, right?
I think so. Yes. I do think that. I just, like you, have reservations about whether or not I believe that to be reasonable, you know?
Right, but I don't think I was thinking of it specifically in those terms.
Those terms?
Yeah. Right, because it kind of fits into the theme of, like, Darken Rahl, everybody saying the shit that they don't mean and blah, 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 because it's, like, all the way down, it's just people trying to avoid pain and punishment. To do what they're supposed to do for their own self-interest. Everybody's just doing stuff just to avoid pain. And Richard is saying, I will take more pain.
Okay, but this is predicated on assuming that we are removing Stockholm Syndrome from the equation.
Yeah.
Which does exist and is real in people.
I know. I get it. He's acknowledged that. I'm saying.
I know. And so he's saying if Terry assumed it was not really
he wasn't
a factor,
thinking about it for some reason.
Then yes. But then this goes along with so Richard's just such a special boy that he's just so good and Christ-like that he, through all of this pain, could still seek to remove pain.
Yeah, and then I still just have like
literally a Christ analog.
Weird moral dilemma on it where I'm like...
It's Christ if Christ said, I will only save specific souls when I die.
What?
Of people with good braids.
But also, like, the more... Okay, I'm probably making a weird leap that I'm sure he wasn't trying to say.
Tell me.
But, like, doesn't it kind of just feel like it's like being like, if you're being, because you're, okay, he explicitly says the whole thing's an abuse metaphor, right? Especially everything with the Mordsith.
Yeah.
So then is the takeaway supposed to be, oh, if you're getting abused, if only you could just
love your abuser enough?
Take more pain on to show them love, they'll stop?
Kind of, yeah.
That's
a bad message.
Not great.
It's not great and not true. And
I know.
And ignoring how people are and asking a lot of someone in an abusive situation.
But I'm like, okay, so we got the chain of abuse, right? We got Darken Rahl up at the top. He's abusing Denna. Denna, now she's abusing Richard. And I get it in the sense of, like, you want to stop that chain in the sense that Richard should not now get a new person and start abusing them. That's how you stop it.
Yeah.
But he's going a step further to say that Richard turned back around at the chain of abusers and said, keep abusing me. It's fine.
Abuse me worse so that you could take a night off.
I think it's weird.
Denna, have Constance cut my penis off. I'll come back and give you a foot massage. Yeah. It's weird.
Oh, but that made her love him, so that was a good idea.
It was a good idea. That's how you stop the cycle.
But also,
of abuse.
is that not self-preservation?
Of course it is. And now we're in the loop again.
Like, see what I mean? I don't know.
And isn't he really wanting to do this more because she's hot?
Right. Yeah, that's like I don't know. Anyway, Sonar Man, I liked your comment. It made me think about it.
Definitely, yeah.
I'm getting too caught up on all of these other things that I think are, like, fair criticisms, but because I'm getting so hung up on them, I'm struggling to, like, see through it all to that core thing that I think is also true.
Yeah. And apologies to Wacko. I have yawned a bunch this episode, and
I also yawned multiple times.
Get sleepy, bro. That's all I got for you.
Let us know if you yawned.
I hope you're snoozing in the chat.
Whose yawn made you yawn first, mine or Frank's?
Good question.
After Richard says his forced devotion to Darken Rahl, and he's saying, I'm humbled in your presence. I live only serve, I'm humbled in your presence. Darken Rahl smiles and says, yes, I'm sure you are. So it's kind of interesting because you're like, okay, Darken Rahl, like, knows that this is all fake? Because I kind of took the smile. I don't know. Did you take
me
this?
Too. Absolutely,
yeah, you didn't take it like him being like, oh, goody, he loves me.
No, he's being flippant.
So Darken Rahl says he's going to answer his questions, and he tells him to kneel. Richard does it without an angel forcing him to. Denna stands with her legs on either side of him. She's pulling
on either side of him.
She has her hand in his hair. She's pulling his head back to stare into Darken Rahl's eyes, and her, like, thighs, it specifically says this,
are pressing against his shoulder.
Pressing against his shoulders. She's, like, leaning on him. And I was like, you know, in another scenario, this is all very hot.
Agreed. Yeah, with Dem in there and everything else that's going on. Not the best.
With the
best.
The Darken Rahl, everything, if you totally reskinned it.
Yeah.
I like the idea.
I like the idea very much, in theory.
Yeah.
And, there's a couple things there. I thought of the imagery of Richard leaning on her again.
Okay.
Because he's like resting on her legs, and that's really the only point I had.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So Darken Rahl says, you have seen
the Book of Counted Shadows before?
And Richard feels a powerful sense that he should not answer this question.
Oh, no.
What's that?
That's bad information. I can't let it out.
Oh, you're being Richard too?
I'm being Richard too,
okay.
yeah.
Denna puts the angel on the back of his neck because he's taking too long. He says, yes, he has seen the book. Darken Rahl asks where the book is now.
Where is it now?
Oh, he hesitates as she angels him again. He says he's confused by the question. Of course he is. Darken Rahl's like, why are you confused? Just tell me where the book is.
I mean, wait, did you skip the... Oh, no, you're right. Keep going, keep going.
Richard says, the book or the knowledge of the book? Like, that seems like he's being flipped, but I actually think he's being...
This is clumsy as fuck, just because Terry couldn't think of a way for us to go from point A to point B to point C.
You're right.
But
he's leaning on the fact that he's like, Richard's dumb right now. Richard's mind's partition.
I know what he's leaning on.
And Richard is a highly literal man.
Yeah, I know. This is the Sherlock Moriarty of it all. Terry being like, I need to make each thing I say airtight one, so the pipe only leads to the answer. And it's like, just let them talk. It'll get there.
Yeah. No, they can't have natural conversations. Everybody is pedantic, and everybody's doing this, like, word play.
The whole fucking thing is
game.
this, like, horrible pipe, like, maze where water.
Well, the only thing I am thinking of every time you describe this is Meepit Juice Break.
Oh my god!
Wait, it's actually a good metaphor.
How many times have I described this?
This is like the second time you're specifically saying.
So it's the second time I've said something, and you just are like, "It's Neopets." It's Neopets.
I don't know. It's just what I'm picturing. The Meepits.
So yeah, like the Meepits juice break for the uninitiated. Go to neopets.com/meepit. I don't know.
The best. I think it's my favorite Neopets game.
The game is effectively rotating pipe orientation to get juice from one area to the Meepit, which will drink it on the far end.
And it has to have a corresponding color.
It has to have a corresponding color because the Meepits are colors.
But there's also gross, rotten fruits that can fuck up.
If they drink it, they go ooh ah and they die. Basically, right? They fall off the screen if they drink the rotten fruit. And if you get good fruit in there, they get extra points.
Yes, but I think you can feed them the incorrect color. You just don't get as many points, right?
I think so.
I feel like that's true.
I don't know. Anyway,
this is my autism.
I'm familiar. So I'm imagining an extremely convoluted pipe maze to get water from one point to another, which is the conversation. And Terry can therefore go, look, like it's airtight. Air can't get in. And you're like, it's leaking everywhere. Can you just fucking build a straight pipe like in a line like the Romans did with the fucking aqueducts?
Like, yeah, right.
Why are we doing this?
He's doing a twirly straw.
He's making the twirly bird hat equivalent of a fucking piping system. It's like, anyway.
So Richard's like, actually, I burnt the book. Darken Rahl asks, okay, then where's the knowledge? Since you just let me know it's still available, I guess. And
okay, so the second question is, what that weird thing that you said. More on that.
Let me know more.
Oh, no book? Okay.
Let's pivot to
You said something weird, so what about that part? Dang. If he didn't say that, the book would have just ended. Darken Rahl would have been fucked.
Yeah.
The book? Oh, the book, I burned it. Oh.
So he says he burnt the book. Darken Rahl asks where the knowledge is. Richard doesn't answer. So Denna's pulling his hair back. I thought it was important is that Richard had never felt so alone, so helpless, so afraid. And I kind of believe that. I was like, so this is Richard's, like, in his entire life, this moment. And I think it is because he's feeling a bit betrayed by Denna right now.
Oh yeah.
Right.
And this is like the penultimate moment. Like this is and he's all alone, his friends aren't there, he was abandoned in a way. And I love how many thoughts he has about this and not having sex with her romantically last night or anything else.
Yeah, like right, wouldn't that be so interesting to be like, damn, after all that, like the intimacy and the intensity of that. A couple
paragraphs would have like made the meat so much thicker. Yeah.
Like imagine him in this situation, like despite all of that, she's still like making me do this right now. And I am totally alone. Like she's not on my side at all.
Like I thought.
And wouldn't you have a moment?
Yeah.
Maybe in that sexual encounter where you think, maybe she kind of is on my side. Maybe.
Oh, yeah.
And like she is, but she isn't. And that's kind of complicated and interesting.
Would have been fascinating.
Yeah.
But it would have made you dislike her if she didn't support the hero in this moment. And then.
If you reinforce the complexity of it, then we say, oh, wait. So maybe Denna's a little
is she a
morally
little
complex.
Yeah.
And then, wait, why did we ream out Constance like that?
Yeah, no, you can't question these things. Denna's got him by the hair, right? And she hits him with the Agel in a new spot. Somehow never been done before. It's the 100 years of pain.
Is it? When did she do that?
It's the base of the skull. Yeah. Actually, she did it a little earlier, but we didn't do it. That's why he says I'm confused.
I'm confused,
like
right.
His brain got so
all right,
scrambled.
Fine. Well, then that's why he said he bothered letting out the knowledge
whatever. Denna never touched this spot before.
She just hasn't done it in a while, maybe.
No, because it was like a whole hour in one poke.
He said that before.
Yeah,
he has said that before. So Richard says the knowledge is in his head and he cries. And Darken Rahl tells him to recite it, so we get our same
first paragraph
we've heard a bunch.
It was the best of times. It was the worst of times.
Verification of the truth of the words of the book Accounted Shadows, if spoken by another, rather than read by the one who commands the boxes, can only be ensured by use of a confessor. And Darken Rahl is like conveniently at the end of where we've heard. He's like, oh, whoa, 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 just stop right there. Don't keep going.
Well, it's first paragraph, clearly. A clean break. But then...
No, first what actually ends up happening is when he says the word confessor.
Wait, yeah. You get that, like...
It's over.
You get that anime, like... You know, when you think, like, the hero's dead. Yeah. But then you hear, like... like their big heartbeat. I know. And then it's just... Confessor. Kaylin.
Who needs a soundboard when we got you?
We got my beatboxing mouth.
Suddenly, Kaylin's name pops into Richard's mind like a bolt of lightning. His power roaring to life and blasting away the fog in his mind. His memories all come back.
That's it. They're back. He remembers he's a woods guy.
He's Richard again, once and for all.
Yep.
The door to the locked room is flung open. So, Darken Rahl says to Demon,
you see, my old friend, the fates work for me. She's already on her way here with the old one.
Good job. And then he says to Demon to take 2 quads and make sure she's brought back there alive. And
I don't care what you do with her. You and your men. Just make sure she's alive.
And can use her power.
Sometimes there's a way that a confessor could be alive and not be able to use their power.
Which, if they were to rape her...
Yeah.
Granted, Kaylin's comes back kind of fast, but like within hours. But like...
It would be two hours, yeah.
It will, in fact. Well, again, these people are just so fucking risky. And I get it. We are hinging everything on him saying, the fates work for me. Where we're like, see, he's risky with it because he believes it'll all work out. And like, there's something about that kind of works.
He's King Louis the whatever. But he thinks he is blessed by God.
Maybe just... Don't risk her using her power. Don't risk her getting hurt and dying. Just get her here and then do everything. You, in 1 week, can do whatever you want.
Forever.
Just stop.
We're gonna rule the world, bro.
For 7 days, just like don't hurt these people, just so you can get what you want. I'm trying to help him.
I got a winning ticket for the lotto, $7 billion. Right, we're gonna rule the world.
I kind of want to chew on it.
You want to walk it to the place while shooting guns in the air?
No, I kind of want to like.
Don't
could
do that.
Could I put it like in my mouth and
okay,
like?
But like make sure your mouth's kind of dry before you do it. And, like, don't take a sip of water.
Right. Okay,
but yeah,
I won't.
I will crumple it up a little and put it in your mouth. But do not drool that much. Are you drooling?
No,
Did you drool on my $7 billion lotto ticket?
It's fine. I just really needed to do that.
It's not ideal, but okay.
Like, that's what it feels like to me.
It's like, why are we fucking around?
For what? Literally, like, it feels like you're like, oh, why don't we shoot BB guns at my lotto winning ticket?
Yeah.
Don't fuck up the numbers.
As long as you don't hit the barcode, we'll be okay, but it's only 12% of the size of the thing. You probably can hit it like 6 or 7 times and be alright. Just stop fucking around. Just stop fucking around.
I'm not exaggerating when I say that's what all of this stuff feels like to me. I'm just like, wait, what? Don't do that. Put that away. Just put it away. Don't fuck with it till later. Go get the money and then do whatever you want.
Can we talk about the crux of this book being that they stole this book, forced it into a child's brain, burned it, so that he could come and say the first few lines so that you would need a confessor to come to confess him, but it doesn't work because he loves, and then he can lie to you, and that'll win the day. Just so there's 1/3% chance of you destroying the whole world doesn't happen.
What?
Like, what 19th dimensional chess was George Cypher on? You know what I mean?
Like,
what are we?
That's kind of like part of the themes and morals, right?
You should have had.
Is that like
you should have just burned the book?
Why did he need Richard to memorize it? What did they think it
in case they needed the info later?
Just the wizards?
Someone.
Or something?
Yeah, I guess.
Maybe that makes sense. Maybe.
Yeah.
You're putting a big burden on that boy.
Yes, you are. And here he is spilling his... Well, no.
No.
Anyway, he's raging back. He's
sending Demon to go get Kaylin. And he specifies that Demon and his men will have protection of Darken Rahl's spell. The old one is with her, but he will have no weapon against an underworld spell. I don't know. I don't know if any of that's important, but I thought I'd mention it.
What do you mean? Of course it's important.
No, meaning like for us to like even fucking like talk about. I don't know.
It's gonna be important when we get to it.
Of course it's gonna be important.
And why are we hitting Zed with another underworld spell? He got knocked out for a week with an underworld creature. Why are we only doing one thing ever?
Well, because Darken Rahl, that's his magic. Like, that's his source of power.
It's gonna be dumb. Everything's duplicated in this goddamn book. This and then that. This and then that. Dude, I can't wait till they count the shadows.
So after Darken Rahl tells Demon they can do whatever they want with Kaylin, because risk, what's that? Demon, before leaving, gives Richard a knowing smile. I'm like, of course he does. What is that?
Everyone, first off, everyone can't help but give knowing smiles.
They're always...
And then, yeah, so it's like, Demon, you're an insatiable pedophile.
But also
chill out. Your men, insatiable rapists.
Yeah.
We're all incapable of
But then
not
Demon
acting
also,
on
like,
base
somehow is, like, being psychologically interested in like being like to Richard that his men that like does he even want to rape her? No, his men are gonna do it. And he's like wants to rub it in his face. Do they even know that Richard and Kaylin have romantic feelings for one another?
Why would Demon know that?
Why would Demon know that at this one? Does Darken Rahl even know that? Does anybody know
Darken
that?
Rahl knows
Why
it,
does he know it?
Well, he makes some assumptions later on. But,
oh yeah, he does.
So
okay.
he has some.
Okay, fine. Then I guess
I will
Demon,
accept that
fine.
Darken Rahl could know these
Just
things.
because of the underworld, we can't.
Yeah,
this is our excuse.
Listen,
he knows
he went to the
anything
underworld.
he
He
knows.
chatted with the ghost in the fucking spirit house. We were watching the bang session.
That is how he found out.
That is how he was watching too. Like
No,
my dude almost
he
lost
went
his
in-
semen retention challenge watching from the spirit house. I think he was like, "Holy shit, this seeker!"
No, I like the idea that he didn't watch it, but he did go to the underworld the next day, and they were like, "We've got something to tell you.
And then,
You will
and
not
then he was
believe
jelking it. Yeah.
what we saw." And then, yeah, he did struggle that night. Darken Rahl tells Richard to continue, but since Richard now knows everything, he knows who Darken Rahl is, he knows who he is, he knows everything.
What does he say?
If you want to stop me, you're gonna have to fucking kill me!
That's what he says.
Where did you get that?
I typed in, "If you want to stop me, you're gonna have to fucking kill me."
What do you like? That's a meme in your brain.
Oh yeah, what do you don't know that one?
No.
Yeah, that's a sound clip in my brain. Why did it just automatically put on 1 hour of abstract wave patterns?
He says, "It was time to die."
So badass. Richard's so sick in this whole chapter.
He says,
I'm finally awake.
"I will not.
Trinity, I'm awake.
I will not. There is nothing you could do to make me tell you. I welcome the pain. I welcome death."
There's nothing you can do. 4 minutes later, he's helping him open the box. There's absolutely nothing I would never help you. He's like, Rubik's cubing this shit open just to prove a point.
It was for Kaylin.
Yeah. Well, that's not nothing then. Once again, I'll do anything for this mission. I won't eat human jerky.
So Rahl is now that Richard says that, Rahl like immediately looks to Denna like, what the actual fuck is this? And then his guard goes over and starts choking Denna by the throat.
Immediately. It's like he talks back once and it's just like, I will fucking kill this wench. You told me he was broken.
He was Master Rahl, I swear.
I am very disappointed.
In you, Denna.
In you, Denna.
And Denna is being hurt, so Richard, again, full-brained Richard, feels the love power surging in him.
White hot need.
Yeah, Richard, I wasn't really sure how, oh God, I'm so bad.
This doesn't make sense. Richard reaches across, grabs his opposite shoulder, then reaches and grabs his head, and then, I guess, does like one of those?
I guess, he somehow is just neck dead.
Yeah. He just snaps one comically giant guard's neck.
But then the other
and then
guard
spins, and the other guard's lunging to go grab his wrist, right?
Yeah,
so then what he does is, and this kind of makes sense, it just wasn't weird. He grabs the wrist that's lunging. So come to grab me.
Okay.
Like I turn,
Okay,
you're going to grab my wrist.
gonna-
He instead goes like that.
Yeah.
And stabs him in the gut with his dagger that he's been wearing
And
forever.
then
and then just
goes,
rips it up to his heart. Yeah.
And then his insides spill out onto the ground, which I did think was some Darken Rahl ass imagery right there.
Like Papa, like son.
Anthropomancy.
Anthropomancy.
He should have asked a question right before he did it.
I don't know, my brain was just like, are you gay? Like, that was the only thing I could think of. You gay, bro? Going through his guts?
Not you gay. Right, just like, are you gay? Are you gay?
Are you gay? And the guts are like, yeah. That's the only question I could think.
Why?
I don't know. Because it's so dumb. You gay? I'm going to find out either way. You gay, bro? Just diving in the guts.
Oh my god.
He just like covered in blood looks up at Darken Rahl. He was. He was gay.
Like Richard.
Yeah.
I thought you meant the guard. I was like, why is he saying that? Anyway. Okay, I'm so tired. Holy shit. What?
So Darken Rahl watches all this unfold pretty calmly, except he also starts immediately nervously licking his fingers.
Right, bad sign.
Yeah.
Denna activates the pain magic, so Richard falls to the ground.
Yep.
After he's murdered these two men. Denna asks Darken Rahl to let her take Richard back for the night, and she's gonna...
This shit is so dumb.
She's gonna bring him back tomorrow. He's gonna be broken.
I'm so sorry, sir. This was not supposed to happen. Clearly, when I'm working my magic, this is not supposed to occur. I will take him home, fix him right up, bring him back to you in the morning.
Well, I guess she thinks one good training session and he'd be back
Yeah, that's
online.
it. Well, and then she says, if he's still alive, he will answer every
But
question.
again, like, what do you
mean if?
Why?
Girl! That's...
No, but she's not even wrong. I'm more like Darken Rahl at this point because, like, he's also just, like, doesn't see... She's like, you don't seem to care, so I don't seem to care. Why don't you care, Darken Rahl?
I don't know. But
So-
then he's just like...
So then he's, like, deep in
girl.
thought.
No, I apologize, my pet. This is not your failing. I had no idea what we were dealing with.
Yeah, Darken Rahl is being so understanding about it all. He's like, oh my god, my pet, he apologizes. Interesting.
Yeah.
Would you have... I don't know. All my previous depictions of Darken Rahl would never lead me to that.
No,
and I know...
I don't agree. I weirdly was accepting of the fact that he is somewhat fair when certain things are... You know, like, he expects XYZ of Denna. He would never expect this of Denna because he knows Denna can't do this. I find it ridiculous that he had no idea that this could happen when Richard's in the prophecies.
Yeah, that's true.
And it seems like simple magic is being involved because Richard was never taught. He just figured it out.
Right.
So...
Well, no, it always comes back to this is not simple magic. Richard's just like actually the biggest...
He's a
the
war
most empathy,
wizard.
the most genius intelligence, like
His
all of
magic is not easy to teach. He just, when he needs something, it happens. He's Deus Ex Magica.
Yeah, so Richard says he felt as if he were waking from a dream only to find himself in a nightmare.
Yep.
The rest of him was out of the little locked room in his mind, and he wasn't putting it away again. He would die with all of his mind, his dignity intact.
Easy to do now that you're in an opportunity where you can't just be hurt infinitely.
Yes. Darken Rahl asks Richard if the old one taught him how to partition his mind. Richard's like, I don't know what that even means. And Darken Rahl's like, well, that's why you weren't able to be fully broken. You put up a partition to protect the core, sacrifice the rest to what would be done. A Mord Sith cannot break a partition mind. Punish yes, break no. Once again, I'm sorry, my pet. I thought you had failed me. You have not. None but the most talented could have taken him this far. You have done well, but this makes matters altogether different. Once again, you hear Richard's rationale for like what he's doing, and I feel like we talked a lot about liking it, right? We were like, oh, that's interesting. I can relate to what he's doing. I understand why he's doing it. I think we had a whole conversation about like soldiers doing it. We were like, I think people do this. And then it's always he takes something that's like deeply relatable that you're like, yeah. Mm-hmm. I know that.
Yeah.
And then he turns around and goes, magic. And advanced magic at that.
One of the highest levels.
And I'm always like, wait, what? Like, okay, so, like, I don't know. Is the takeaway supposed to be, like, everybody does do this? It is relatable, but when Richard does it because he's magic, it does an extra thing?
It's somewhere in between those two. Yeah, I don't know.
You know, or
is
am
it
I
just
supposed...
the normal thing, or is it actually like a magical version of the normal thing?
I don't know. It has this tone to me of, like, well, that shouldn't have been relatable. Nobody does that. He just did it because he's magic. And it's like, no, that thing...
When we cross the road, we keep getting run down by carriages. But Richard, he looks in the first direction and then checks another. How did you know to do that?
It's the crossroads magic.
Crossroads magic. He's a crossroads magician.
Only a crossroads magician could figure that out.
He's a wizard of the compass rose.
That's what it is.
That's what it is.
No, it's the same thing with the Wizard's First Rule, where I was like, him asking the question to Zed, and then everyone, and then being like, no, nobody could have done that. And it's like,
could no one have done that?
Yes, they could. It's relatable.
Not some tricky guy at a bar. Like no one could have done it.
So I just don't get it. It's that again for me, where I'm like, oh, so was that not supposed to be like broadly relatable?
I know.
Okay. Darken Rahl says he wants to have a private conversation with Richard. He wants no pain magic, and he doesn't want any control going on from Denna, and he wants her to leave. And he says if Richard is still alive when he's done, he's going to send him back to her room, okay?
One thing that I thought was interesting, and I need just the last little bit of clarification here. When his mind is clearing and the fog's going away and everything, he's keeping his anger in check, but there's fire in his eyes and his heart. And I'm like, what's the difference? I have fire in my eyes at you, but I'm not angry.
Wait, what?
Before she drops the magic of the pain, anytime Richard gets angry, he's in pain, right?
Yeah.
So Richard calms himself.
With the braid.
But has fire in his eyes and his heart.
Okay.
Can you look at someone with angry eyes without actually feeling the anger, but still have it in your heart?
In your heart's I don't know.
I'm like, so where's the anger?
Maybe it's just like passion instead of anger.
We're dealing with weird concepts now,
we
though,
are,
right?
But I guess he's asking you, like, do you think you could understand that difference? Maybe.
I'm just wondering if that's what you think.
Terry's like conception of anger, though, is very specific. Like, I think maybe I have like a broader idea of what I would label anger.
Well, yeah,
because I feel like he kind of, for the most part, labels it like this sort of really out of control feeling. Yeah. And he's like, that's anger. And then if it's like a controlled sort of
fury,
passion, he's like, that's not anger, that's something else.
She can't affect that anger.
I don't know. I guess I would probably still label it anger, but maybe not.
What is a fire in your eyes and heart if not anger, though?
Passion.
Passion to be mad.
I don't know.
All right, so she drops the anger magic, right?
Well, he's sending her away, and she bows. She says, I live to serve Master Rahl. She puts a finger under Richard's chin and says, don't disappoint me, my love. And then he says, never, Mistress Denna. Which is interesting because, again, this is full Richard. Yep. Full Richard doesn't seem like it had much of an impact on his feelings with Denna.
Never, Mistress Denna. And then my favorite line right after it, I don't know if you put it, but the Seeker smiled. He's back. He's so back, baby. The Seeker smiled. Never, Mistress Denna. Holy shit. Terry went, fuck, and then wrote it.
Okay, but maybe, unless is never Mistress Denna, is he being flip now? Is he back to being Flip? And that's
he's definitely back to being Flip. My boy has not been not Flip for 6.5 weeks. I don't know.
Sure. When he was putting that lotion on her, he was not Flip. He was not Flip.
That was kind of Flip.
The Frank reading is...
the Frank reading is the true reading. The one true reading, all right?
Stop. Darken Rahl wants to know what the rest of the book says. Richard just says, kill me. Kill me. He's a little cunty during this. Kill me.
So eager to die, are we?
You kill me just like you killed my father.
Your father? I have not killed your father, Richard.
George Cypher, you killed him. Don't try to deny it. You killed him with that knife on your belt.
Oh, I do not deny killing George Cypher, but I have not killed your father.
What are you talking about?
It's time.
God, I love how they drop information like this. Like, they all just have these ways of... It's, again, more pedantry. We love that. It makes sense. It's in the bloodline, so...
Yeah.
Then Darken Rahl just, like, pivots away from that conversation, and he's like, ooh, the wizard's web around you, Richard. It's the best one I've ever seen. It's wound around you tight as a cocoon. Been there a long time. It's quite intricate. I don't think even I could untangle it. I kind of liked the idea that he's been walking around with this cocoon web of magic around him. Yep. I thought that imagery was cool.
I agree.
So... props to Terry for that. Richard's like, you're not going to convince me that George wasn't my father. You're crazy. And Darken Rahl's like, I don't care what you believe, but nonetheless, the wizard's web is hiding the truth from you.
They're just wizards first ruling each other, like, back and forth.
Yeah, I know.
This whole combo was just like,
Some of it, there's some of this, I usually really dislike Terry's little, like, clever back and forths, but, like, some of this wasn't that bad.
I agree. Yeah.
But I am like, what is the wizard's web do? Is it like holding back memories or something? Like, how is it hiding it doesn't require a wizard's web for George Cypher to just be like, I'm your dad, and Richard be like...
No, who his dad is unknowable because of the web. No one knows who Richard's dad is.
Nobody knows.
Well, maybe Zed does.
Because he put the wizard's
Correct,
web
yeah.
on him.
Or maybe he even forgot by putting the web. But once the web is undone, you can now ascertain. Like, that's how it works.
Right, but like the information would not just like pop into Richard's head spontaneously.
If the web was gone,
yeah.
It might.
But why?
Or the thing that is being blocked, like all the things that are being blocked. Well, that's what I'm saying.
So is
would
it
resurface for everyone.
It's doing a lot of things.
But it's in the same way that no one knows who Zed is.
But see, like, so why does that work for me? Like, I'll bitch and moan about a ton of like the magical concepts and like how leaky they are and all of this, but like honestly being like, you have a really intricate cocoon like wizard's web around you that is blocking anybody from knowing who your father is, like that to my brain goes like, that makes sense.
Yeah, because that is a complicated thing that would require a very intricate web to probably do.
I don't know.
It seems like you could bind things with a web. Like, I don't know.
I don't know. I'm just like, that totally makes sense.
That tracks. But like, if you're just like, your power is love, it's like, well,
in other books that works sometimes that works.
Sometimes it does.
I'm always intrigued by like, because you always have to make up a weird logic for the magic, and I'm always interested in like when my brain like rejects it versus, and is like, no, that doesn't make sense. And then the other half of the time when it's like, yeah, it would work like that.
I think it requires something true, something about it to feel true.
Yeah.
You know?
Richard's like, all right, fine, I'll play along. Who's my dad? And Darken Rahl says that he doesn't know because the web is hiding it, but he has his suspicions. I'm curious, is he his own suspicion?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay.
Because it's so impressive Richard could do half the things he's doing right now, so you must be my kid.
He asks Richard what the Book of Counted Shadow says. Richard shrugs, says, that's your question? You disappoint me.
Don't you want to know who barbecued your father?
Yeah, Darken Rahl's like, how so? Well, after what was done to your bastard father, I thought you'd want to know the old wizard's name. And then Richard smirks, and he's like consciously trying to piss Darken Rahl off
to the point that he gets murdered,
so that he dies.
I liked
me
that.
too. But I was like, finally,
yeah.
Richard being this annoying is paying
intentionally
off in a way that makes sense. Because I'm like, yes, because normally he would do this in a situation where you'd be like, oh, you don't want to die, so why would you say that?
You simply can't stop. But now he's weaponizing his irritating qualities.
Which I like. That's fun.
Yeah.
So Darken Rahl says in 1 week, he's going to have the power to know his name anyway, which I love that he can rationalize things like that out for this. Like, he's like, who cares about that? I'm not petty. I'll just wait 7 days. But, like, everything else,
yeah.
No, risk it. Richard's like, no, you won't, because you only have 2 boxes. Darken Rahl's like, actually, the third one's on its way here right now. And Richard's like, that's a lie. I don't believe you. You're going to die.
You're lying to me.
So Darken Rahl says somebody has betrayed Richard, and he really does have the box coming. Richard, again, says he doesn't believe it. Darken Rahl brings him over to a wedge of white stone. This is just such a weird description. Upon which sat a flat slab of granite held up by 2 short fluted pedestals. Can you picture that?
I don't know. When I read these things, if it's not jiving, my brain goes, it's a table. Okay.
So on it are the 2 of the boxes. One is ornately jeweled. The other is black as the nightstone. Its surface a void in the light of the room. And this was the box with the cover removed. So the jeweled part is the cover. And the real box is just like the one we have sitting right here.
Yes.
Just black as like a void.
Ignore
a void.
The red filigree with the gold accents of a tea house in China Pan.
Darken Rahl asks Richard why. He's like, why would I even want the book if I don't have the third box? Because the book would not even help me without the third box. Number one, that is like not true.
It's not true.
Of course it would help him even if he had... Well, I guess he's saying he can't... If he doesn't have the third box, he can't do anything with them, right? He can't open any...
I don't know if that's true, though.
I think that's true.
Okay, so maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we did this already,
we did.
right?
We did
this. Yes,
this.
he can't open them without the third box.
Yeah.
But here's my argument. My argument is that he still has a week.
Yeah.
So even if at this point he doesn't know where the box is, his life's on the line, he might as well keep trying. Wouldn't you be like, I need as much information as I could possibly have? Number one, perhaps in the Book of Counted Shadows, it's going to tell him some special way to locate the third box, right?
Possibly,
Potentially,
yeah,
might as well get the info. And it's like, you still have 7 days to potentially find it, at which point, wouldn't you just rather already have the information from Richard ready to go?
Yeah.
They act like you can't, like, intelligently pre-plan and, like, be like, I need that information. Fine, no, I don't have the box, but I'll
need that when I have the box.
So I might as well get it now.
I can't use it without the box, but I will use it when I get the box.
I just hate that, like, so much of the argument is, like, based on this stupid logic. And I'm like, no, you still might want that information.
You need it. You will need it eventually.
No matter what.
Yeah.
Richard says, who betrayed me in the box? Tell me the name. And whatever. I kind of like that.
I like this response.
Richard could be unhinged right now, and you could let him be max unhinged, and it's fine, because he doesn't care if he dies. And then Darken Rahl says, I will not betray the one who has helped me. You're not the only one with honor.
I like that he's like kind of clocking Richard, being like, oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, you're the only guy with morals. You're the only guy that matters around here. Yeah.
Not us being on Darken Rahl's side. Richard totally buys into the idea that he wouldn't want this information if he didn't have the third box. And he's like, oh my God, I was betrayed. That wasn't convincing, so I don't like everything moving forward based on that. So Richard's like, you might as well just kill me because I'm never giving you this information. Darken Rahl says he first needs to believe that Richard even knows the book, and for all he knows, he's just memorized the first page. Richard...
Or made it up.
Yeah, for sure. And Richard's like, I don't really care.
Why the fuck do I care if you believe me?
Right, which is true. So then Darken Rahl says, well, if you can't convince me, I guess I'll have to read Kaylin's entrails to find out what? I don't even really know what he's going to read in the entrails, but...
I think he's just saying, like, I'll just see what it tells me. Like,
yeah, whatever. He's just threatening to kill Kaylin if he doesn't.
And then Richard's like, that's dumb. You need her to confirm the book. And he's like, so you say.
Right, like, I don't even know if
I thought this was good.
Right, me too. I was like, honestly, the back and forth, other than the first part not making sense.
Richard's so literal, and he does know the book, that he never considered that someone would just say, how do I know you're not lying to me?
Correct, right.
And he's like, well, I wouldn't do that. And they're like, well, I don't. Come on, man.
yeah.
I don't know you. Like,
yeah, I thought this was kind of, like, it was convincing, like,
Yeah.
being like, well, I don't even know that I do need a confessor, because I do not know that is in the book.
No.
Richard then asks, how did Darken Rahl get the covering off of the box without the book? Darken Rahl says there are other sources of information about the boxes, not just the book. He says it took a full day and every talent I have to get the covering off. It was held on with magic. And he says,
but I did it, though.
I'm pretty sure I could, like, actually, he's like, I'm positive
I could do it again.
Take it off the other ones, too.
I don't need that book.
So Richard's disappointed because he hoped without the book he wouldn't even be able to get the coverings off. Richard recites the part of the book that describes how to take the covering off. It kind of does make, like, I get it. It's a bad idea because, like, you are helping him along in a big way.
I kind of get it.
But it is, like, the only convincing thing what else could he do? He could recite as much as he wants, and Darken Rahl would be like, you literally could be making it up. He can't be making this part up.
No,
he
literally can't.
Which I thought it's just funny. In the instructions about, like, how to take it off, it specifies anybody could take it off. Not just the person who put the boxes into play, which is just there to, like, justify...
Let Richard do it.
Why Richard can do it. I was
Which,
like,
just don't even put that. I'll assume that anyone
who
can.
does these things can do it. I don't think I even would have thought of that.
But Terry was worried someone might.
That's what he's worried about.
I know, but it's so funny when you catch those things where you're like, he's like, oh, I'll shut that whole thing down before they even come for me.
Like,
and it's like, no one was coming for you for that. They're coming for you for fucking the army of problems that are over here.
I don't know why. Yeah, like, that's not a plot hole. Turn your sights elsewhere.
So Richard goes, watch this. And then he plays Bop It for 15 minutes.
I actually made a joke in another episode where I was like, it's going to be like 3 times touch this gemstone. Like, it literally was
is.
that.
I wrote all the steps because I'm crazy.
I wrote some.
Right.
Do you want to read it?
Yeah, so to open the box of Orden that was not opened, I don't know if we know which one it is, but the second box, maybe? Doesn't matter. So...
how are they being counted?
Okay, to open the box. Is it sunny out or not? Because that matters.
It does.
Is it sunny out? It is. Hold the box where the sun may touch it. And face north. Easy, right? Unless it's cloudy. If it's cloudy, hold it where the sun would touch it, but face west. My biggest question is, how the fuck does Richard know where north is right now? He's got a skylight in a different country, and he's just been beaten for like a year. But whatever.
That's true.
Maybe you can figure it out because he's a woods guy.
That's true.
Hold the box in the sun, face north. Turn the box with the small end with the blue stone in the quadrant facing the sun. Yellow stone faces up, obviously. Second finger on your right hand, put it on the clear stone at the bottom,
Could
the
you
corner
show
of the
us
bottom.
on the box?
Yeah, I could. Yeah, all right. So, Angel's up. Okay, so we're facing north. Okay, so turn the box with the small end with the blue stone in the quadrant facing the sun. Yellow.
You are facing north.
Yellow stone. I know. Yellow stone facing up. All right. Second finger on the right hand on the clear stone in the corner of the bottom. Second finger. Yeah. First finger. No, second finger is your middle finger.
This is how it went
Yeah.
when Richard did it
First
too.
finger on the left hand on the blue stone on the side facing away from me, I assume. And then thumb of the left hand on the ruby of the closest side. Clear your mind
Yes,
of all thoughts
right.
except for a white square with a black square in the center. Hold on. Then just pull your hands apart.
Imagine something came out.
That would be fucking great. Whoa!
Oh!
Do I control all life?
It certainly feels and looks like you do.
Holy shit, I'm one with the quadrants.
What are you going to manifest for us? Now that you rule the world.
Anything I want.
Yeah, well, come on, tell us.
First, I'm gonna fly.
Okay.
Second, I'm gonna make it so I'm not allergic to milk, so I can eat Taco Bell with cheese.
Okay.
Angel
and so
style.
Richard takes the cover off, and inside another
Pure black.
pure black
Cube.
box. And that is where we'll be leaving on quite a
God.
cliffhanger.
Cliffhanger on a slab on 2 fluted columns with a piece of granite on top. There's the cliff.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish we could have got... This one was so close.
Close to what?
Being one episode for the chapter.
It was not. There's
Kinda
so much
wasn't.
left.
There really is a lot left.
We got a lot more conjecture. We got a rendezvous in the training quarters and some other stuff, you know?
Yeah. Well, we learned a lot about Darken Rahl.
We did.
Owned Constance, I guess.
Shredded her. She deserved it.
And Denna's
stewing.
Denna's not making it out of here alive, unfortunately.
Poor gal.
I did feel... I will talk about it a lot in the next episode, but
leave
I
it,
did...
Leave it.
I was sad.
We'll leave it.
I felt sad.
I gotta think of better things to give you if I open the right box.
Yeah, you do.
I don't think I get genie powers, actually. I think I just rule the world, right?
Yeah, so if you say world...
Give me this?
Give her
Oh,
this.
yeah, you're getting houses all over the place. You're getting...
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna live wherever we want.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna be in movies, you know? We're gonna
So
be in
you're just
movies.
letting the world, like, continue on kind of as is.
I'll make tweaks and changes. I might spend a month or two on an oil rig, getting things
why?
together.
Just eliminate oil. Make something else.
I'm not a genie.
World. Oil
Bad.
is bad.
Okay, listen. When oil's bad, Julian gets upset. All right.
Oh, God, you're
so
right.
that's what I.
Oh!
Listen, I was working my way towards.
Were you actually?
This is all a Julian joke setup. but all
I
right.
did not
I'm
realize
sorry, I'm
that.
sorry.
I was like, what a strange thing to say.
Yeah, it was. You're right. Definitely not a normal thing to say.
Oh, okay. Oh, so yeah, but why? Why? He doesn't need oil anymore. He can have whatever he wants. You can give him whatever he wants.
What if he wants his oil?
I don't think
what he wants
he
is
doesn't.
oil?
It's his dad who likes oil. He's mad at his dad.
You're right. Off with his head.
You're gonna kill Julian's dad
I might.
with your power.
Oh, I could do whatever I want now. Yeah.
Okay,
We could finally be
I'm
free.
in movies and have a bunch of houses, and Julian were murdering his dad. You're basically Denna killing Rastin for him, and he's gonna betray you, I guess, in the end. If you learned anything from this, that's what you should take away.
I would expect that of him.
Of Julian?
Yeah.
That's so sad.
I'll be ready, but he should try
Try what?
to betray me.
It's getting a little dark. So, like, you're bought into Terry's thesis, then? You think it's true?
What? Wait, what? What part is true?
That if you are Denna and you do this selfless thing for Julian, just like she did for Constance, that the one you've done that for will betray you.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, he was right on that, yeah. And then I'm also going to have the Faith of the Fallen statue commissioned for
Of
real.
course. Of
I'm going to
course.
get some of the best artists of our day to come and carve it for me. Banksy's going to be there. George O'Keeffe's kid. We're going to resurrect Michelangelo.
You could do that.
We could do that.
And you could do
We're
that.
going to have everyone working on it.
But you're not going to resurrect George O'Keeffe. You're just going to go right for the kid.
They're already here, you know. We're not gonna. It's nebulous to find.
You see George O'Keeffe's child.
and zombie Michelangelo. Gonna carve me a sick fucking statue.
to make you a Faith of the Fallen statue.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's quite the group.
Yeah. Oh my god. I kind like. Can you imagine if I actually had hair like this?
Yeah, imagine.
Like, could you deal with it?
Yeah, I don't hate it.
Wow. Really?
I don't hate it.
Okay. Is it way worse if it's brown though?
I don't know. I need to see it.
So like this haircut is not horrific. If even, because for some
I
reason
mean,
it's,
like, it kind of is,
but there's something cool about how ugly
there's something
it is.
interesting. Yeah, there's something visually interesting.
I'm like
about
a
it.
shape, you know. I get to like be a shape.
You just look like an anime character,
I
which
do.
is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess by the time this goes up, it'll be post Christmas.
God bless us, everyone.
I hope that you guys all enjoyed your holiday. Oh, actually, it's gonna go up on New Year's Eve. Hey!
See you in the very last day of 2024. after that.
I hope that you guys are having you have a great New Year's Eve evening, and you
Put some of your New Year's resolutions below.
Okay.
And that's it for Secret and Confessor 2024.
Oh, man.
Honestly, deuces.
Yeah, that was our first full year.
First full year of potting. It's been great. You guys have been great. We've loved making this for you and for us and for just, I don't know, the Wizard's rules of it all, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you guys for watching for more than a year, but like for an entire year's worth
full
of
365.
content.
You guys give us a reason to put on silly wigs.
Yeah.
Week in and week out.
That's true.
And we love you for it. So
all right. Love you guys.
See you guys next time.
See you next year.
2025.
Bye.
Bye.